What's up, guys? Your boy Darkskin, and today we're going to be talking about the top 5 worst units in the game. Now, this is like the SSR list, because, I mean, technically, almost all, well, not almost all of them, but most of the Rs are not good, and most of the SRs are not better than the SSRs. But these are like the top 5 worst SSRs in the game. Now, this isn't 100% fact. There are debatably some others that you could put in these spots, but these are generally the top 5 worst units in the game. So starting out at number 5, we're going to be going to Grimoire. Now, Grimoire is a tank. That's what he does. Inflict 120% damage to all enemies, 120 plus seal stance, and then 180 plus seal stance. Attack is very, very low. Now, obviously, like I said, he is a tank, so he's not meant to be attacking. Going on to a second skill, take a stance, increase HP potency by 10%, reduce damage received by 30%. Then it goes up to 2 turns, increase HP skill by 15%, reduce damage by 45%. Then it goes up to 75% with 25% HP skill potency. But the thing about that is he doesn't taunt. They don't have to attack him, right? Which makes it useless. That's the same thing with like Rimuru, right? Rimuru's taunt, like skill would be useless if he couldn't taunt. Now he taunts on his 2-star and 3-star, which makes it good. And he gets HP back, so that's good as well. But this is actually useless because they don't have to attack you, and it can go through Petrify, right? I mean, Petrify can go through it. If someone petrifies or CC you get CC'd. The difference, like I said with Rimuru, is he cannot be debuffed, and on the 2 and 3-star he gains taunt. So that becomes a lot better, like way better than, you know, anything else. Moving on to its ultimate. Increase this unit's defense by 420% and taunt all enemies for 4 turns. This is one of the select few units that don't do damage, right? He's one of the select few units that don't do damage. But yeah, he has taunt on his ultimate, right? He taunts all enemies for 4 turns. So if you ult and then you bury your shield, you know, you can tank. But the problem with that is you have to ult, right? You have to get your ult, and then the enemy, you have to bank on the fact that the enemy is going to stop you from, well, it's going to let you use your ult, because Helbram can take away ults, King can petrify, Gother can take away your ult with his ult. There's just a lot of different ways to stop someone from ulting, right? So with that, your taunt becomes useless. Now, obviously, increase the unit's defense by 480, which that's not a big a difference, right? Because you're already going to be increasing your defense with your skill, second skill. Passive, increase this unit's attack by 30% of its defense. So you are going to want to build triple defense to make his attack go up just a little bit, but it's not going to go up enough to matter, to be honest, but it's whatever. In theory, Grimoire isn't that bad, but it's just like, we're not in a tank meta, right? We're not in a tank meta. He'll never be used. Like, if you're gonna use him, you may as well just use an attacker and try to kill the enemy faster. Next up, we have Blue Bond. Now, don't get me wrong, Blue Bond was really good for Red Demon, but that's it, right? I'm not going to make a unit good because he's good at one thing that other units are just as good at, if not better. Slater's probably better than him at this raid, right? And then it's like, you can use Slater in a lot more, like a lot better situations than you would be able to use this bond, or would use this bond, right? First one, 200%, 300, 500, applies rush, which ignores defense. Then his second skill, inflict 180, well, oh, it's 180 at all turns. Okay, 180% to an enemy, reduce that target's attack by what, 20, 30, 40? Yeah, 20, 30, 40 by percent for 1 turn. Then his ultimate, inflict 630% damage to an enemy, reduce their ult gauge by 3. Okay, it's a single target attack, so it's not as good. Then passive, if this unit wasn't attacked, decrease the opposing team's attack stat by 15%. This stack up to 5 times. This isn't that good simply because a lot of the time enemies are AoE, and especially if you're using them in PvP, oh yeah, there's a lot of AoE going on. Not to mention, like, I'll attack you one time. Boy, stop playing with me. He's just not that good overall, in my opinion. So that's 4th place. Moving on to DN. Matrona DN. Now, Matrona DN was good for, what was it? Ifrit? Was it Ifrit? I think it's Ifrit. Yeah, okay, so Matrona DN is good for Ifrit because she has burst, right? Increased damage done to targets with buffs times 2, 180, 270, 450. The only reason why she was better than this DN when it comes to that, right, is because this one is AoE and it's less damage, right? But in every other instance, this DN is worse than the coin DN, right? 360% damage to a single target, still buff and debuff skills 2 turns. Oh, well, that's, see, at 1 star doesn't even do it. But yeah, so like this Matrona DN was better than the coin DN in Ifrit because her burst, which does double damage with buffs, just did more damage. But in every single other instance, you would want to run the other DN. If we're talking about PvP, the other DN. If we're talking about PvE, other DN, etc., etc., you're gonna run the other one. Ultimate's not that bad. You know, increased penetration, blah blah blah. Passive, this character's critical chance is boosted by its crit resistance. That's the dumbest thing I've ever heard, right? Now, I know she's getting a buff where they're putting her crit resistance to like 30, and then you build crit resistance on her, but it's like, at that point, it's just like, you may as well use someone that just does more damage, right? So, like, she's just not that good, in my opinion. Nearly as good as the other one or other units, so there's that. Next one is Benimaru. Now, I know some people are gonna have mixed feelings about this because weakness is a strong ability. Almost died there, but his percentages are just too low in my opinion. If you go look at, where's it at? There it is. If you go look at Demon Meliodas, right? His ultimate applies weakness, which is 385%. Now, I know it's an ultimate, but the percentage is what we're talking about. If you look at the other skills, they're way higher, right? They're way higher than 275. 275 is just not that high as like, you know, your max one. Now, obviously, weakness is triple damage or whatever the case may be. And if you build him properly, he can become pretty good, in my opinion. But it's just like, reduce all enemy defensive related skill. His second skill is completely useless. There's like 2 or 3 units in the game that are viable that have a skill like that. Like Rimuru, Green Meliodas actually are like the only 2 units that have a defensive skill. And it's like, no one uses Green Meliodas anymore. And chances are, people don't use Rimuru like, I know some people do, but most people don't use Rimuru in PvP. This is a useless skill, right? Then his ultimate. Ultimate's pretty good, but it is single target, right? If this was AoE, it'd become a lot better, but it's single target. His pass is actually not that bad, but it takes a while for him to ramp up. And PvP, right? In 10 turns, this guy's dead. 100%, this guy's dead. You are most likely dead in PvP for that. And then it's just like, he has no place, right? You're not going to use him in any raids. You're not going to use him in any raids. You're not using him in PvE, and he's not worth it to use in PvP over a lot of other units. Just not that good in my opinion. Now, first place, right, is Blue King. Now, I actually think Green King might be worse, but I'm not sure. I looked at him briefly, but I didn't like look at him a lot. They're both bad, but I think Green King is better. Which one is it? I think Green King might be the better one. Apply rush, damage, apply poison. Yeah, see, so he increases his allies' defense, and that's actually pretty usable. This king right here, single target bleed with low damage percentages. Not that good. Take a stance for 1 turn when an allies attack, counterattack for 160, 240, or 400 damage. That's not that good as well. Ultimate, 560 damage to a single enemy, reduces defensive skills. Like, no one uses defensive skills. It's just not that good, right? When damaged, heal 15% of max HP at the beginning of the next turn, which think about this, right? If you're not building HP on him, this becomes pretty useless. Which, based off his other skills, you're gonna want to build attack, right? Because like your counter's gonna do no damage if you don't build attack stat, right? Your ult's gonna do no damage, and then your first skill's not gonna do any damage at all either. So, you're probably gonna be building attack defense, so his passive becomes useless. He's just not a. I feel like he's just not a well thought out character. He's all over the place in my opinion. Like I said, this list is very debatable. It's not 100% concrete. These are just the top 5 units I've seen that have like no purpose at all. So, anyways, that's gonna be it for this video. Be sure to give it a like, subscribe to the channel if you're new, comment down below, tell me what you guys think in the comment section below. With that being said, I'll see you guys next time. Peace.